Gronsky, and this is my fourth and final video in my Developing Resiliency series. So, leaders could develop their resiliency by allowing themselves to be vulnerable. And I like to talk about leader vulnerability in three different ways. Leaders must allow themselves to be vulnerable by moving out of their comfort zone. Be open to new ideas. Try various approaches and new approaches in order to solve issues and to solve problems. And then leaders must also move out of their comfort zone by challenging themselves, both physically and mentally. The second area of leader vulnerability is that leaders must ask their followers for their advice. Leaders have to allow themselves to be vulnerable by letting their followers know that, hey, even though I'm in a position of leadership, it doesn't mean that I have all the answers. Let your followers know that that's why you have a team around you. So you could seek their advice, you could seek their recommendations, and you could seek their counsel. And then the third element of leader vulnerability is that leaders should share stories. Now, what type of stories should leaders share? Well, leaders should tell stories about the times they've made a mistake and how they were able to overcome those mistakes, and also talk about the lessons you learned because you made those mistakes. Leaders should share stories about the failures they've had and how you were able to rise above those failures and again, focus on the lessons that you learned. And then leaders should also share stories about where you came from. Let your followers know where you came from and let them know about the obstacles that you had to negotiate and the challenges that you had to overcome in order to get into your current position of leadership. So again, those are ways that leaders could allow themselves to be vulnerable, and when leaders allow themselves to be vulnerable, they develop their resiliency. Again, I'm John Gronsky, and thank you for listening.